Hey folks, how's it going? So this weekend I brought you a video where I talked about how America is bankrupt and America's credit rating has been downgraded by Fitch. There was an article, sorry for my voice, it's a little hoarse today. There's an article that I wanted to cover that in that same video, but the video was just getting too long. Let's be honest with it. It was just getting too long, and I decided to save it for another video. So here I am covering it. All right, at the same time that Fitch downgraded the U.S. credit rating, Moody's cut the ratings of 10 U.S. banks and put several big name banks on downgrade watch. All right, this article comes from CNBC, but there's other versions of the article elsewhere. Moody's cut the credit ratings of a host of small and mid-sized U.S. banks on late Monday and placed several big Wall Street names on negative review. Now again, this happened about a week ago. The firm lowered the ratings of 10 banks by one rung, while major lenders like Bank of New York Mellon, U.S. Bank Corp, State Street, Truist Financial, Cullen/Frost Bankers, and Northern Trust are now under review for potential downgrades. Moody's also changed its outlook to negative for 11 banks, including Capital One, which is a big bank, a very big bank, Citizens Financial, and Fifth Third Bank Corp. Among the smaller lenders receiving official ratings downgrade were M&T Bank, Pinnacle Financial, BOK Financial, and Webster Financial. Quoting from the article here, U.S. banks continue to contend with interest rate and asset liability management risks, with implications for liquidity and capital as the wind down of unconventional monetary policy drains system-wide deposits, and higher interest rates depress the value of fixed-rate assets, Moody's analysts Jill Satina and Anna Arsov said in their accompanying research note. Meanwhile, many banks' Q2 results showed growing profitability pressures that will reduce their ability to generate internal capital. This comes as a mild U.S. recession is on the horizon for early 2024. I love how they keep saying there's a mild recession in the future, but they keep pushing it further and further out. We're already in a recession. I mean, with interest rates going up, inflation maintaining a high position, banks are starting to falter and fail. We're already in a recession. But this comes as a mild recession is on the horizon for early 2024, and asset quality looks set to decline from solid but unsustainable levels, with particular risks in some banks' commercial real estate portfolios. Regional U.S. banks were thrust in the spotlight earlier this year after the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank triggered a run on deposits across the sector. Now, earlier this year, when that very thing was happening, they tried to downplay the fact that there was no runs. They were stressing the fact that the banking system was stable and in good health. But here, after the fact, they finally admit there was a run on deposits across the sector. The panic eventually spread to Europe and resulted in the emergency rescue of Swiss giant Credit Suisse by domestic rival UBS. Though authorities went to great lengths to restore confidence, Moody's warned that banks with substantial unrealized losses that are not captured by their regulatory capital ratios may still be susceptible to sudden losses of market or consumer confidence in a high interest rate environment. Okay, so they're basically saying that banks with substantial unrealized losses will still be highly vulnerable in a high interest rate environment, which we continue to be in, and that interest rate environment continues to climb. They're still raising these interest rates. So this is not something that's where the interest rates are going to go down. They're continuing to climb. The Federal Reserve in July lifted its benchmark borrowing rate to a 5.25 to 5.5% range, having tightened monetary policy aggressively over the past year and a half. We expect banks' ALM risks to be exacerbated by the significant increase in the Federal Reserve's policy rate, as well as the ongoing reduction in banking system reserves at the Fed, and relatedly, deposits because of ongoing QT, Moody said in the report. Okay, so they're saying here that the banking system reserves at the Fed are going down. They're being reduced. So that is going to exacerbate the problem with bank stability in the future. And again, bear in mind, these rate hikes are expected to continue. I'm going to skip down a little bit further into the article. Risks may be more pronounced if the U.S. enters a recession. We're already in one, which we expect to happen in early 2024. You can't believe everything they say, folks, because asset quality will worsen and increase the potential for capital erosion. We continue to expect a mild recession in early 2024. There you go. They keep pushing it down the road. They keep saying that because they want people to believe that right now the banking system is still stable. They're trying to say cracks are showing, but everything's still okay. We're not expecting any kind of recession until early 2024. Earlier this year and early last year, it was at the beginning of this year they were expecting it. So they're going to keep playing it out like it's further down the road than what it actually is. And given the funding strains on the U.S. banking sector, there will likely be a tightening of credit conditions and rising loan losses for U.S. banks. So they're admitting there that there will likely be a tightening of credit conditions and rising loan losses. So, folks, it's just another warning to you. Don't keep your money in the banks. Only keep in your bank account what you need to pay your bills. Anything over that, keep that in cash at home or invest it into easily liquidated assets, tangible goods that hold value, gold, silver, property, things at home that can benefit you in the event of an economic collapse. You know, a lot of people would consider small livestock or a greenhouse for gardens. Those things would be tangible assets because those will actually repay you by being able to produce food so that you don't have to buy as much. So again, whether it's gold and silver, whether it's cash in your safe, whether it's property, whether you're stocking up on ammo and livestock and seeds, what have you, generators, water filters, whatever it is, if it's a tangible asset that could prove to be beneficial in the future, that's where I would put the majority of my excess money. That's just me. Right now, I would highly recommend paying down any debt that you have. You don't want to be having debt going into an economic crash, because a lot of people will say, well, what are they going to do? Come foreclose on my house during an economic crash? They're not going to get anything. Well, yes, they will. That's exactly what they will do. Just because the economy crashes doesn't mean that your bills aren't going to still be due. So make sure you have an emergency fund of cash for at least 2 to 3 months worth of bills, so that if something happens, if you lose your job, or if there's an emergency, you've got 2 to 3 months of expense money that you can fall back on. And then the rest of that, put it in food, put it in gold, silver, whatever you choose to do, whatever is best for you. But do not keep your excess cash in a bank, because if these banks fail, as I've said before, and they probably will, there will be more of these banks failing. We haven't seen the last of it. And if these banks fail, you will not be able to get all of your money back out of the bank. You might be able to get $25 or $50, but they will determine how much of your money you're going to be able to get. All right, that's all I've got. It's been a long, hot day. It's about to pour down on me right now, so I want to keep this short. I appreciate you guys watching. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't. And as always, folks, keep prepping. Don't get complacent. Stay safe, take care of yourselves and your families, and until next time, I'll catch you later.